So far in my keto diet, I've had awesome success, but in the very beginning, I stumbled, I made a lot of mistakes, and in today's video, I want to share with you guys the 5 major mistakes that I made starting my keto diet so that you guys can avoid them and have a lot smoother transition from whatever diet you're on to a healthy keto or carnivore or more of a primal approach. Stay tuned. Okay, so one of the things you hear all the keto, rapido gurus out there say is fat, 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 keep your protein low. Don't be afraid, or be afraid rather, of glucogenesis. All that protein is gonna turn to carbs in your body and raise your sugar and your carbs in your body, and then all of a sudden you'll be out of ketosis. I have found this to be absolutely not true, and I have found this with my clients and me personally, that upping my protein to a very satiating level, for me that's somewhere between 130 and 200 grams per day, makes a huge difference. And I stay in ketosis no matter if I'm at 110 grams of protein or 230. So there's a wide range. Early on, I was not eating enough protein. I was eating mostly only fat. And it just didn't feel good. I was never fully satiated. I just kind of felt hungry at the end of the day. And most of the fat sources are very dense and small, so you're not ever filling your stomach up with much volume of food. What the protein does is it gives you a little bit more volume, it gives you a little bit more different nutrients, and doesn't rely so much on very dense, low volume, high calorie foods that sometimes, if you're used to eating a lot, feel like you're eating nothing. So that was my first mistake, just focusing too much on fat and not enough on protein, just kind of doing the overcompensation thing. It's an easy one to fix. Number 2, I started off with keto being totally bare bones raw. I'm not going to take any supplements. I'm just going to use food, and that's it. I got the keto flu pretty bad. I got diarrhea pretty bad. And it wasn't until I added the magnesium citrate in that my digestion, the keto flu, and everything just started feeling so much better. So I'm always suggesting that right away to everyone. Start off right away with the magnesium citrate. Also, starting with a quick water fast as you transition makes a huge difference for that first 2 to 3 weeks going into keto. So make sure you're on the magnesium citrate. Reason being is you got to keep your electrolytes high when your fat is that high. So plenty of salt, magnesium citrate, and lots of potassium. I like to get my potassium from things like salmon, spinach, avocados, and things like that. Number 3, and I just kind of hit on this in the last one, but I wasn't eating enough salt in the beginning. I'm someone who grew up in a house that didn't use a ton of salt. I didn't ever really salt my food too much as a high carb, low fat vegan. And I would go through phases where I would use absolutely no salt at all to reset my palate. I've learned over the years how important salt really is. And when I started doing the keto diet, I was just sprinkling a little bit on my food here and there, making it taste good, using sea salt, using other types of awesome high-end salts, and I felt pretty good. But, and shout out to Tristan and Jessica over at Primal Edge Health. After talking with him, he was like, dude, you got to get your salt way higher. Your electrolytes are off. And so I did. I started adding way more salt to every single food I was eating throughout the day, and boom, 3 things happened. Hormones felt really, really strong and good. My ability to focus, my mental focus, my clarity and creativity was just noticeably better. And then 3, I wasn't peeing all the time. I was like peeing like an old man every 45 minutes, and I was like, what the hell is going on? Added the salt, upped my salt, and boom, back to normal with everything. So that's a big one. Don't take the salt for granted. Make sure you're getting plenty of salt in your meals. Another mistake I was making, again, this kind of relates to my background as a vegan, whole food, plant-based, high carb, low fat eater. I relied upon fruits and vegetables as my main calorie sources back then. Switching over to keto and eating meat and eating tons of fats and tons of proteins, I was still in the mindset of I got to eat a wide variety of vegetables. And to be honest, it kind of messed me up. At this point, when I go to Chronometer and look at my daily intake of nutrients, the days that I don't have any plant matter at all all of my nutrients are 100% taken care of. There's no nutrients that I'm not getting. And the days that I eat a ton of plants, the next day my digestion doesn't feel as good and my whole body just feels slightly off. So, and this is a variable one from person to person, but I just wanted to share my experience with this so that if other people are struggling, trying to eat tons of vegetables all the time and not feeling that great, just stop eating them. Focus on the meat, focus on the fats, and do your thing. I will say this though, for a lot of my clients, doing a green juice, a low glycemic green juice every few days, and also incorporating salads of soft leafy greens on a regular basis seem to be the best alternative or the best veggies to focus on when you're doing this high fat approach. Zero carb, keto, carnivore style eating is just so delicious and nutritious. We don't want to mess it up with undigestible fiber. When we're having all of these foods and the inflammation is zero, and then you start adding in weird unfat soluble fibers and anti-nutrients and lectins, it can start to cause a ruckus. So simplify, minimalize, and if you really don't feel like eating vegetables, you don't really have to. There aren't any nutrients that you're going to miss. And some of you are going to say, hey, smarty pants, what about vitamin C? Organ meats. You can eat organ meats. There's lots of vitamin C in organ meats. Or you can have some fermented cabbage. Back in the day, there is 2 things that pirates would use to not get scurvy. The number 1 thing was kraut. Fermented cabbage. It's easy to make, it lasts a long time, it gives you plenty of vitamin C, it's good for the digestion. If you wanted to have some vegetables and you're worried about your vitamin C, you can knock out that. Or you could just eat organ meats and get all the vitamin C that you need, especially liver. Last one, and I just gave it away, but in the beginning, I was kind of super basic. I had not eaten a lot of animal products in a long time. I was out of rhythm, and I was sticking to basics, fish, steaks, simple things. Then the world of organ meats opened up to me, and I realized, wow, there are some nutrient dense foods that kind of take the whole diet to a whole nother level. Tallow, pemmican, liver, kidney, brain, and heart, those foods, and marrow and broth. I mean, geez. Obviously, marrow and broth are not organ meats, but you get what I'm saying. The internal parts of the deep animal have so much powerful nutrients. It's just super, super awesome. And the transition that I was talking about from number 1, the little water fast that you do, we really talk about this a lot in phase 2 of our group coaching course, which starts again on January 15th. If you're interested in learning how to reverse skin disease or get your gut health back in check, you can sign up for that at holistichealthactivation.com. Again, it's January 15th. But we teach and we focus on this nice slow transition because really it's about allowing your gut and your digestion to assimilate these new foods at the same time that your body's learning to get off of the glucose and start relying on those ketones and those fats as your primary source of fuel. So we'd love to have you if that's something you're interested in. Also, if you're looking to get a hold of me to become a private client, there's a link in the description box. I'd be happy to help you. Leave all your comments and questions down below. If you're new to this channel, remember to subscribe and share. And if you're looking for me on Instagram, you can find me. It's pretty easy. Just Google search. Actually, don't Google search. Go on Instagram and search in Instagram, Stuart Rob Stuart. In real life, my name is just Rob Stuart, but on the Insta, I like to go with an extra Stuart before because I think it sounds nice. What do you think? Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm out of here. Bye.